New video. Why Kanye can't be canceled? I don't know, because seeing how deep this hole that Kanye has dug, I have no idea. If, you know what I'm saying, like, people talk about some, you know, like, you know, Kanye don't care, or it's like you can't be canceled if you don't give a hell, or, like, if you don't give a shit. It's just like, I don't know. The things that he has said, there's some things that he said that he can't take back, especially in the media, amongst his own peers and stuff like that. I don't know, bro, but let's see what kind of explanation that these niggas got.
Round to find out more.
Kanye West once was widely considered as one of the most brilliant minds in music. And just when you thought he said the wildest thing ever, he continues to up the ante.
Every human being has something of value that they brought to the table, especially Hitler. How about that one?
You hear about slavery for 400 years. For 400 years, that sounds like a choice.
Yo, Taylor, I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish. But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time. One of the best videos of all time.
A rapper, producer, designer, and overall artistic mastermind who's had his hands on the control of the culture for almost 2 decades at this point, there's no denying that without Kanye West, the world as we know it would be vastly different. While he may not have solved the oil crisis or the state of world peace, Ye's been a leader in every industry he's attached himself to. In doing so, he's launched the careers from everyone from the late great Virgil Abloh to John Legend and Travis Scott. But alongside his eye for spotting talent and his discography that means so much to millions of people, there comes the downside for which, for years now, has been Kanye's tendency to make being a Ye fan just that little bit more difficult for a few months. Prone to speaking his mind, Ye's 2-decade-long habit of saying just about anything in ways that almost contradict his legacy is nothing new. And while his fans are used to this, his recent comments have been even more divisive than usual. And between his decision to don a White Lives Matter t-shirt to Jewish people becoming his recent aim, people are starting to feel that Ye may be done for good. However, if history has taught us anything, it's that Ye isn't going anywhere. And that's because even now, he still has too much of himself embedded in the culture. And in reality, his position in the world remains as strong as ever due to a few key factors. At the outset of his career, Kanye made no bones about the fact that he was outspoken. My niche is that I'm the funny version of Dead Prez. I'm the rap version of Dave Chappelle, he told the Rolling Stone way back in 2014. I'm not saying I'm nearly as talented as Chappelle when it comes to political and social commentary, but like him, I'm laughing to keep from crying. At that time, Ye's politics aligned with his fan base. From tracks like All Falls Down to Diamonds and crack music, he had the power to discuss issues facing black people both domestically and abroad in a way that set him aside from his peers.
It was
Brought
the voice
into
of
the
the
world
people.
stage when he took aim at George W. Bush during the Hurricane Katrina telethon, Kanye's gift to create music that was socially pertinent, inspiring, and vulnerable made him a superstar. Ye was the people's champ who spoke for the masses. His issues were relatable, and he had the capacity to speak brashly without fearing what would come from it.
Literally came out, created a whole nother sound.
But over the years, Ye's applied the same
really
approach,
get,
even as his views
really
have
gotta
become
get that
less
mental
palatable.
shit together.
This has led to some major instances where Kanye's conduct came under the microscope, and now the same thing is happening.
Ye was like
While
able to articulate himself a little bit better, I don't know. Like I feel like all this shit would like, you know, would it, you know, I don't know.
As a result, remarks that he made during,
because there be some things that niggas be trying to understand. There be things that niggas be trying to understand, or they be trying to like formulate some kind of sense from the shit that Ye be saying. But it's just like, yo.
His recent appearance
the shit
on
that he
Alex
be saying be
Jones's
so
InfoWars
crazy, bro. It's just like,
represented a moment
how?
where tolerance for Ye has dwindled down to zero for some. Now, we all want to make a good first impression.
Bro, I feel like y'all would literally made this video just to like, you know.
At Scentbird. That's about $8 for your first month. With that said, let's get back to the video.
I love Jewish people, but I also love
Damn. This nigga just started dying.
Well, I have to disagree with that.
I like Hitler.
I don't like Hitler. And I know you're trying to be shocking with that.
I'm not trying to be
I know
shocking.
you're trying to be
Where a
shocking.
lot of Ye's previous comments seem calculated and could be justified as free speech, his most recent chapter, beginning from the White Lives Matter t-shirt and onwards, has hit all the wrong notes in a way that he's tactically avoided in the past.
Oh, he asking me, am I bumping Ye? I mean, nowadays, not really.
Editor Gabrielle Carifa Johnson on Instagram. What I feel is that he isn't fully aware of the difference between appropriating Black Lives Matter and subverting the Make America Great Again.
I don't really bump
when it's
it
worn
on,
by Trump, it's
like,
racist.
I don't bump him
When it's
on a
worn by
normal
Kanye,
basis.
it's about liberation.
But I haven't completely
Seemingly
stopped
avoiding the
listening to him.
rebellious
Like, I'm not
stances that he used to
boycotting
take in
listening to
favor of
his
falling in
music.
line with discriminatory
If that's
beliefs
what
that have
you're
been
trying to
perpetrated
ask,
for
no.
centuries. Ye's recent words
That's
have
not what I'm
caused more
doing. I
concern
would
than
still
most,
listen
in
to
that
a
they lend
Kanye song.
credibility to ideas that might be genuinely dangerous. And as a result, people such as the family of Ahmaud Arbery, who was unjustly shot and killed by police as the BLM movement gathered steam, are now calling on Ye to be held accountable for what he's done. As a result of his t-shirt, White Lives Matter started trending in the US, which would direct support and legitimize extremist behavior, much like the behavior that took the life of her son. Their lawyer, Lee Merritt, told Rolling Stone. That is the thing that Wanda and families like hers continue to fight against. This mockery of the Black Lives Matter movement, and now his denunciation of the movement as some sort of hoax, flies directly in the face of what he said. It's confusing for her. It's confusing for the families to receive his support privately, but publicly to set us all back. Grim as it may seem, the fact that Kanye can do this while still giving $2 million to the families of those bereaved speaks to the exact reason why, just like everything else, Kanye will survive this latest round of controversy. As if we know anything about Ye, the notion of him having an ideological hill to die on isn't real. While all of the White Lives Matter and anti-Semitic stuff is dominating the story at the moment, it will ultimately be just another footnote in the controversy section of his Wikipedia.
Are
as
you
when the
sure,
newsworthiness
man,
of
that
this
this is
viewpoint
just
dies
gonna be
down,
another
Ye will simply
controversy that he's
evolve
just
and
gonna
shift
get
his
by?
focus
I don't
elsewhere,
know, man.
just as he's beginning to do now by apologizing to
I
the
don't
Jewish
know.
community on Piers Morgan's Uncensored, and just as he's done with previous viewpoints or symbols that once threatened to overshadow his legacy. I'm taking the red hat off with this interview. Ye told Forbes as the MAGA supporting slavery was a choice-based era of his public persona was coming to its
I forgot
end.
he
One
did
of the
come
main
out with
reasons
an
I wore the
apology.
red hat as a protest to the segregation of votes in the black community. Also, other than the fact that I like Trump hotels and the saxophones in the lobby. Through this comparison, we can see that this is just another gesture to manipulate the news agenda, which he will then shed when the luster of it wears off. As, while Kanye may act erratically, he knows that he still needs an audience to make sure what he's doing is impactful. The only problem is that these days, it's unclear whether Kanye cares who that audience is or what they value him for. While the White Lives Matter controversy feels like it has a greater magnitude than others, let's not forget that this isn't even his first flirtation with white supremacy. Back in 2013, the merch for his Yeezus tour controversially made use of the Confederate flag.
You know, the Confederate flag
Holy
represented slavery in a way.
I
That's my
never knew
abstract
that.
take on what I know about it, right? So I made the song New Slaves. So I took the Confederate flag and made it my flag. It's my flag now. Now what you gonna do?
Arguably the first instance of Ye using symbols to be provocative and spark conversations,
I
the move marked the
did
shift
not
in how
even
West
hear about
expressed
that,
himself.
to keep it a
And
buck
from
with
there
you.
on out, this is
That completely flew right past me. I never knew that he tried to use the, well, he did use the Confederate flag for his Yeezy bread. I never knew that. I did not know that. I'm
go
just
to
learning
his
about that right
publicity
now.
playbook. And at the same time, San Francisco State adjunct professor Dave Cook gave his analysis and predicted what's taking place today, in that while West may be moving deliberately, the untold side effects are where the dangers lie. Kanye doesn't move by accident. There's definitely a level of publicity involved in this. Kanye runs the risk of greenlighting something that is overtly racist, and I don't think he has any plan in mind on how to educate people. Since then, West has towed the line between opening lines of dialogue and simply doing things in order to challenge cultural sensibilities and become a central part of the news agenda. And according to his Tucker Carlson interview, he gives it no more thought than he does anything else in his life.
I do certain things from a feeling. I just channel the energy. It just feels right. It's using a gut instinct, a connection with God, and just brilliance.
Seen as ultimately benign, if unstable, rather than dangerous, the idea that we need to accept the good with the bad when it comes to Kanye has been a part of any cultural discussion surrounding him since at least the Taylor Swift VMAs incident. And now his free-thinking approach is not only an extension of the fact that he knows he'll get away with it, but the nature of it has allowed him to, for the most part at least, avoid consequence.
I'm not gonna
As
lie.
a result, Ye has been...
Kanye really had one of the most... He said, so who making the Yeezys now? I mean, Adidas is still putting... Adidas still owns the Yeezy shit, so like they're still putting out Yeezys and stuff like that. It's just that Kanye's just no longer connected to it. So like niggas, like, you know, it's just like there's still gonna be Yeezys, but I don't think they're gonna say it. I don't think it's gonna say Yeezy no more. Cause I still think he has rights to the name, but they still have rights to the sneakers, if that makes sense. So they could still put out the Yeezy shoe, but I don't think it's gonna say Yeezy. So I don't think niggas is gonna fuck with them.
rightly or wrongly, given leeway for dialogue that simply
Oh yeah, and like I said, Kanye definitely had the most who's gonna tell me shit energy in the industry for a fact. Cause like niggas really thought 50 was bringing that kind of energy. Like who was really telling Kanye anything though? Really? Like they shot 50. Nobody was like, you feel me? Nobody was shooting at Ye. He got into a car accident. That was pretty much the worst shit that ever happened to him. Like, Ye was literally walking around saying whatever. And nobody was telling him shit. Like, really though. I'm just saying.
Wouldn't be afforded to others, and this is born out of the immense respect that his fellow creatives have for him.
But I'm also not saying that, you know,
for an example of this,
I'm also not saying that I support any of the things that he has recently said. No, I don't condone them shits at all. Do not even try to put that on me at all. No, I'm not trying to do that.
And I would have
this
this
is not a
conversation
praising
with him
Kanye
personally
video.
if I want to. where
this
others
is not
will
a
be
praising
exiled,
Kanye video
culture
for like,
feels
you know, the recent
responsibility
shit
to grant him
that
an
for the
audience
recent
to
shit that he
justify.
has said.
And here we see the central reason why Ye
Relax.
simply can't be canceled or erased like others, as when it comes down to it, his contributions are always seen as outweighing his misdeeds. When he drops a new album, the list of willing collaborators has remained as expansive as ever. Likewise, he's deemed a worthwhile risk by major labels. Cardi B's career is carefully mediated by Atlantic, but they still gamble on a Ye verse at a time when he was leading a smear campaign against his ex-wife and her boyfriend. Above that, he's left an imprint on everyone at the top of the game today. J. Cole's first mainstream breakout hit was formulated from the skeleton of a Kanye track, and he's been a student of his in many ways for his whole career. Later, one of his most iconic verses is a takedown of Ye's downward spiral on False Prophets. Long before they waged the defining feud of their careers against one another, Drake proclaimed that he was one of the most influential artists on his artistry. Meanwhile, Big Sean and Kid Cudi's career were kickstarted by Ye, and as long as one of them are out there in the public eye, they'll be forever intertwined. A telling story which points to just how much he still means in the cultural space. Look at how Jack Harlow reacted to being saluted by Ye in the midst of an Instagram meltdown. "This right here is one of the greatest moments of my entire life," he wrote on Twitter. "Glad y'all all get front row seats to it. Suddenly, all the hate means nothing. Imagine your hero saying this about you. I could cry." Even while in the eye of the storm, James Blake attested to the importance of Ye's seal of approval when he spoke about collaborations from the two being previewed at Fashion Week, writing, "It's my birthday and West is playing tracks we made.
Like, it would have been bootleg if, like, you know, Nike started dropping Yeezys,
the other aspect
if anything.
Of the cancellation
Well, started dropping the Yeezy sneaker with, like, with that. It's still Adidas dropping it.
Rather than being a
not going to
mystery,
be
this
connected
comes
to
down to the
Kanye
fact
no
that there's
more.
ultimately still a financial incentive attached to working with him. And this was explored by Wasni Lambre of the Young Turks.
Kanye, because he's able to generate money for people, people still mess with him. Other people that might say some messed up things, they just would not be afforded the opportunity to go talk to Tucker Carlson or go to CNBC and talk about how they're gonna tank somebody's stock. One, he commands a lot of attention, and two, like I said, he's earned a lot of money for some prominent people, so people still feel a need to be close to him, or else they would have threw this guy in the trash bin with everybody else who said 10% of the craziest things this guy said. His sneakers continue to sell out, and people still want to put him on TVs.
Although Ye has made no shortage of errors in his career, he has survived what would have permanently sunk other careers for one reason, and that is that across culture, relevance is the currency that Ye has always commanded like few others. And until such times where that, or the audience's patience, runs dry, Ye will always have a seat at the table.
And at the end of the day, though, like, even though I do not condone any of the recent things that Kanye has, you know, started spouting out his ass and stuff like that, I'm still praying for him and stuff, and I really hope he gets his mind right for real, you know? 1,000. That's all y'all really gonna get from me.